Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the first episode of The Abundant Mind. I am so stoked to get into this. Thank you so much for choosing to listen to this. I appreciate your time. So, who am I? I'm just a human living on Earth named Jared, who loves to grow and expand. I consider myself a student of life. And obviously, with the podcast name, Abundant Mind, everything I'll be talking about in every episode is always related to having an abundant mind. So, what's the first episode on? It's going to be called Dissolving the Mental Trap, Finding Peace Beyond Overthinking. In today's society, many people live in a scarcity mindset. It's a limited mind. The way I like to describe it is that people live literally inside a box. That's how they view reality. And if you can only perceive what's inside a box, it's pretty daunting, honestly. New things can't really enter the box because they'll challenge your beliefs, your perceptions, and what you think is to be true. When you live inside your head, you'll only experience the surface level of life, which I honestly think causes a great amount of unfulfillment in society. The opposite of a scarcity mindset is an abundant mind. And that's what we'll be talking about today. And I'm just really excited to get into it. And honestly, once you start living out of your head, you'll step into a much more expansive experience. The goal of this episode is to help you dissolve these mental blockages. All right, so getting into the first segment, identity and awareness. I'm not sure if you know this, but you are not your thoughts. You're not your body. You're not your emotions. You're not your achievements. You're not what your friends and family think of you. You're not even what you think of who you are, if that makes sense. Us humans, we like to get attached to the external and create this version of who we are. But the fact is, that's just a construct of who you are. That's not actually you. You're simply the awareness experiencing your life. That's what you are. The way I like to describe this, if you've never heard of this before, is think about you are the observer of your life. You observe everything that happens in your life. Being in the state of an observer is to be detached from these things that the ego loves, like your achievements, what people think of you, what you think about yourself. When you can shift out of realizing that you're not all these things that you thought you were, everything that's attached to your name, and I'm sure a bunch of things pop up, that's not you. That's not actually you. Those are just things. Those are literally just things. And when you can detach from the external, detach from what people think of you, or detaching from who you think you're supposed to be, this literally changes your life. Attachment leads to immense struggle, like just an immense amount of struggle. And I honestly believe attachment is a big root of suffering in society. It creates a lot of sadness, a lot of sadness. And I'm not saying sadness is a bad thing. It's not a bad emotion. It's literally just a human emotion that we're all supposed to experience. And I'll talk about this more later in the episode. So moving on to the nature of our thoughts. Our thoughts always come. It's a given. Thoughts are literally created all the time. Like we have like hundreds of thousands of thoughts or something per day. And 90 to 95% of our thoughts that we have today are the same ones we had yesterday. They're literally automatic. Like we can't control them. And something I want to teach you and maybe plant a seed in your head is that you're not your thoughts. Like your thoughts don't have to have any meaning. Everyone has good and bad thoughts. I have bad thoughts, but I don't give those thoughts any meaning. Even the good thoughts, I don't attach to those thoughts, because they're literally just thoughts. The human brain just creates thoughts all the time. And this comes back to being the observer of your thoughts and not attaching to them. You can view them, they're just a thought, and they're going to pass, as all thoughts do. And like I said, your thoughts are automatic. So don't resist your thoughts. Like, if you resist something, it will persist because you are giving it energy. And when you give something energy, it will persist. So if you have a thought you don't like, it's because you're literally attaching value to it because you don't like it. So guess what? What's going to happen tomorrow? You're going to have that same thought over and over and over again because you keep resisting it. Now, if you're stuck in your thoughts, aka being stuck in your head, which is kind of what this whole episode is about, you're truly not present. You're focusing on something that has nothing to do with the present moment. All we have really is right now, this moment right here. That's all that is happening now. I'm sure you know, like, time is not linear. All there is the now. So, like, why would you want to be in your head, stuck in some thoughts that aren't actually reality? Reality is happening right now. Now, if you're stuck in your head, you're living in this surface level experience of life that's defined by some voice inside your head. That voice inside your head is literally not you. And that can be a lot to hear. I heard it years ago and I never really understood it. A lot of these things I talk about, these are things that it's taken me years to learn, understand, and fully integrate into my life. Now, I'm just here to plant seeds. I'm not here to change you. It's really up to you. You take what you want from this podcast that resonates with you. If there's parts of it you don't like, that's okay. I don't expect you to like it all. And yeah, I just wanted to say that. But Tony Robbins said this quote a while ago, and it's kind of like what I was talking before. Where focus goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, whatever you're focusing on grows. Think about that. What you focus on is going to persist. And you say, well, I don't want to focus on my bad thoughts. Well, you are, because you are resisting them. You're resisting even emotions. It goes the same for emotions. As a human being, you're supposed to experience the full range of human emotions. You're not supposed to not feel fear and uncertainty, and you're not supposed to not feel sadness. Like, that's a normal human thing, and you should embrace it. And I honestly think that's the beautiful thing about being a human, that we get to experience all these emotions. Imagine if we lived in a reality where we could only experience happiness, joy, and peace. Well, that happiness, joy, and peace wouldn't be that fulfilling because we wouldn't experience the polar opposite. And the opposite, when you're in times of sadness and despair, like, it helps you appreciate those moments that are good, those moments that are full of love and joy and peace. You really, truly feel appreciative of those moments because you know it's not going to be forever. Like, I like to say, I do have an abundant mind. I'm not perfect. There are times where I have limited thinking, but I'm always looking to expand my mind. And that's the thing. Like, having an abundant mind doesn't mean to be like super duper positive, happy go lucky. It's not it. Like, I feel my emotions fully, my thoughts. I let them flow and pass through like how they would in a river. And since I feel my emotions fully, like, I feel sadness, frustration to greater depths than I ever had before. In turn, I feel more fulfilling and rich and authentic and organic happiness and love and joy and peace in my life. And the thing is, I don't attach to those emotions because they're not me. They're not me. They're simply just emotions. And emotions will pass, as all emotions do. And this comes back to being the observer of your reality. To observe is to also be detached. Because like I said, if you attach, you will suffer. You will create much suffering in your life. You will create a ton of resistance. That's why when I'm in moments of great happiness, great peace, I don't attach to it. Like, I know that it will pass at some point. There's always some storm in your life. There are always mountains to climb. There's always hardships that are going to happen in your life. And if you're able to like let it flow, let the happiness flow through you and come out of you without holding on to it tightly, you'll just like you'll experience life with more ease. That's what I think, at least. That's what I've experienced. Now, let's move on to the next segment, words and feelings. I used to think that words had so much value. I believed everyone's words. I think I even believed my own words. And they were just like full of thin air. Like there was this air in them. Like they really had no meaning. My old perception of reality was very limited. I lived in a scarcity mindset, and I believed words held so much meaning. Where I'm going with this is that, yeah, like words can literally be like a balloon full of air. You can pop it, and there's nothing there. Think about it. Think about how expansive your feelings can be. Think about like a moment where you experience so much joy and love. It may have been with your family, it may have been like when you graduated college or something. Think about that expansive feeling. There's no word that could fully encapsulate how you actually felt. Like, and I'm not saying it's bad to like describe what you feel with words, but that's the thing. Like, feelings literally, feelings like, what's the word I'm looking for? Are just, they're like, they're infinite. Like a feeling it's so expansive. Like there's so, like you can always feel more and feel to greater depths than you have before. Because if you believe that like you've hit the max level of a feeling, you're just limiting yourself. That's a scarcity mindset. And to have an abundant mind is to be expansive, to be open to more. And if you think about it, a word is literally just a sound. How could a sound possibly define an expansive feeling? You know, like how could a sound, a literal sound, describe that feeling that you feel through your whole body, that pulsates through you, that your heart's warm and the blood's rushing through you, and you can almost hear your heart beating, and it's no word can describe that. No word can describe that. Honestly, I want to talk about this example I like to describe to people. So we have two friends. They go on a hike out in somewhere in Banff in Alberta, where the Rocky Mountains are. They see this beautiful mountain range. One friend wants to label everything about the mountain and verbalize the meaning to its friend. Wow, look how beautiful this mountain is. It's so big. It's so huge. Oh my gosh. And they almost can't shut up. They almost unconsciously have to label how the mountain looks for them to define their experience. Now, their other friend looks at the mountain and feels the vastness of it, the beauty of it, yet doesn't feel the excessive need to label it. Now, this person might probably also say, wow, this mountain range is absolutely beautiful. It's jaw dropping, but they're not going to attach to the labels. They're feeling the beauty of the mountain range in such an expansive way, such an abundant way. They're almost connecting with all the trees on the mountain, connecting with Mother Earth. And it's the other friend is just, after they've labeled what the mountain is in their head and verbally, like, they can't really experience much more. It's such a surface level experience. And it's also, and if you think about it, because it's at the surface, because they're literally just using words to describe it, it's a limited experience. It's a limited experience. And when you want to experience a more expansive, abundant feeling that literally couldn't be described by a word, now if this interests you, I suggest that you search up mindfulness meditation, and you can practice mindfulness in your day-to-day life. It's absolutely life-changing, but I'll probably talk about that in another episode. It's a whole other rabbit hole. um, all right, so let's move on to the next one. I'm going to talk about a personal reflection on overthinking. I was diagnosed with general anxiety disorder, but I don't really know how much I believe in that. But I used to have a million thoughts per mile, and I was always thinking. I was always overthinking, always thinking about every bad possibility, and it sucked. I was like a prisoner of my mind. I worried so much. I tried to think of every outcome to justify that when it happened, well, I knew it was coming, so I'm ready for that experience. And it's like, thinking back on it, like, I honestly was pretty miserable and depressed. And it's because I lived in a limited mindset. Like, I lived in a box inside my head. This whole podcast episode was honestly inspired by some fear and uncertainty I've had in my life recently. Um, so this whole year I've been welcoming and embracing new experiences and really stepping into the unknown. I've been experiencing a lot of new things, and so much of it is so new. So in turn, I am feeling lots of new fear and uncertainty because I don't know what's going to happen next. This fear and uncertainty I'm feeling is normal. Like I said, it's just a human emotion to feel fear. Fear is not something you can just like never fear, never feel. Like, if someone tells you they don't feel fear ever, like, they're just lying. That person is very fearful. Like, they try and run away from their fear. Their mind is literally running their life if they think they try telling people they don't feel fear. Like I said, yeah, like, it's just normal human emotion. Like, you're meant to experience all of your emotions. And if you told me you didn't experience fear, I'd probably think you're like an AI or a robot. Like, who are you? Are you a human? Accepting your feelings is a way to really overcome overthinking. Overthinking stems from trying to predict the future and think of every outcome. Overthinkers are so attached to trying to know what's going to happen. When you're not an overthinker, you're detached. You're not attached to some outcome because you are abundant. There's an unlimited amount of experiences that could happen to you. You're limitless. Someone that's an overthinker is in a scarcity mindset. They can't perceive the limitless possibilities in their life. Thus, they try and overthink. They try and figure out what's going to happen next to try and soothe their brain. And like we were talking at the start of this podcast, is that where your energy goes, it will continue to persist. If you resist it, it will just literally continue to persist. So it's like, accept your emotions, accept your thoughts. They're not you. You're just the observer. These thoughts and emotions, a lot of them are just automatic. So you don't need to judge yourself. You don't need to judge yourself. Have a little bit more compassion for yourself. I always tell people this, like, most people just don't give themselves enough compassion, don't give themselves enough grace. Like, you deserve it. Like, life's already hard enough as is. Like, and it's like at the end of the day, it's just you inside. Like, it's just you experiencing this life day after day, regardless if you end up marrying someone, being with them for 40 years. You are the only person experiencing your life. So, like, why would you not give yourself grace? You literally deserve it. There's no point to be like super hard on yourself. Being like super duper hard on yourself, I don't know. That's not my vibe. I've tried that. Had some success, but it was not fun. It was not fun. Um, Now, this fear and uncertainty that we all feel it, like probably a lot, honestly. 'Cause there's so much uncertainty in life. That's one thing. Like, we all know, life is always changing. It's always evolving. Literally always changing. That's a constant thing. Need some water. All right. So, moving into faith and trust in the unknown. I have no clue what truly is out there, whether it's God, the universe, source, spirit. At the end of the day, those are just labels. But I honestly think there's something out there. Like, this reality is so beautiful. It's so expansive. It's like, how could you possibly think that it's just random? I don't know. Like, and that's why I don't, like, I am quote unquote spiritual, but like, I don't practice any certain type of spirituality. Spirituality to me is a very personal experience. And I truly don't think anyone can fully say with certainty they know what is out there. But I think it's quite obvious that there is this will to live. There's a will for creation to happen, for things to be created. It's a cycle. We born, we are born, and we die, and we are reborn. It is just a cycle of life in this universe. And I don't know. I like to think that there's a lot of love and intention with everything in the universe. That's how I perceive it, though. The reason I'm talking about this is that having faith, I don't think you really need to be religious or spiritual. You can just have faith and just have trust that things are going to work out. Trust in the unknown. People like to worry so much, worry and try and create certainty in their life, but that just makes you miserable if you're trying to create certainty. It's like, do you ever think about all the good things that could happen to you? The amazing, infinite, limitless possible outcomes that could happen to you at any given moment. It's like that thing you're worrying about. It's like, what if it actually works out? What if it works out better than you could have ever expected? And that statement right there, it's like, what if it could have ever worked? What if it works out better than you could have ever dreamt of or expected? It's like, it kind of opens up your mind thinking like, huh, maybe I don't know how good it could really be. It could be a lot better than I can even perceive. And right there, that is an abundant mind. Honestly, like, the beauty of life, in my opinion, lies in the uncertainty. It lies in the unknown of reality. Because, like, if we knew what was going to happen, like every big event, if we knew what everything was going to happen in our life, like, it would be boring. Like, you would just, it's like watching the same movie you watched before. Like, you know what's going to happen. And that's why, like, if you think about it, like, I'm sure you can think back to times where the most amazing, abundant, joyful thing happened to you that was unexpected. It happened in the most unexpected way. You could have never predicted it. And that's why it's so cool and amazing. I don't like, I'm sure we all can think back to many experiences that happened like that. Like, the best things that happen to us happen in such unexpected ways. And it's literally born out of the unknown. Moving on to the next segment, living with uncertainty. Seeking certainty leads to unhappiness. If you know every single thing that you're going to experience tomorrow because you live in these habitual patterns that are not serving you for your highest good, you are going to be miserable. You're going to be miserable if you live the same life over and over and over again. To me, that's literally like hell on earth. To just be in the to be in the knowing, to know everything that's going to happen to you. Like, that's so boring. Like, the way I live life is like, I could meet someone tomorrow that's going to change my life forever. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like I live life with such an open view that that the next door I open could be absolutely life changing and I could have never expected it. And having that mindset really opens you up to new experiences. You have to be open to new experiences. If you live in a scarcity mindset, which is a limited mind, you're not open to new things. Maybe to an extent, but you have to call in expansion. You have to welcome it with open arms. Because think about it, if you don't welcome expansion with open arms, your arms are closed and you don't want to experience new things because you think that certainty will lead to happiness and fulfillment. And it's like, well, how's that going for you? I feel like part of the reason we're here on Earth is to experience. And to experience is such a gift. It's such a gift to wake up every day and experience life. So why wouldn't you want to experience new things? New things bring us new possibilities, new opportunities. If you just stay with the same old, meh, it gets pretty boring after a while. Even if you love it, after a while, it gets pretty boring if you don't bring in new things to experience. Yeah, I just think like when you're fully able to trust in the unknown and really just surrender to it, detach from trying to know what's going to happen next. That's when life becomes a lot better. And this isn't something like if you live a very certain life in a limited mindset, like you can't just like create an abundant mind overnight. It's something that can take a long time, and everyone's journey is different. And I think that's like another thing in society is that like people like, gosh, they're just like, everyone loves like quick dopamine fixes and they want success now. So many people just like won't put in the work and like won't give, they don't embrace delayed gratification. Like, delayed gratification is where like true fulfillment happens in my, oh, to an extent. Like, you will experience a lot more fulfillment if you can delay your gratification. Because if you want instant gratification, guess what that means? You want certainty. And certainty sucks. I don't know. Like, obviously, we need certainty to an extent. You need to make sure there's like a roof over your head, you have food. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. Whether that's you hit a nicotine pen all the time, or you watch the same Netflix series for 5 hours each day. It's like quick dopamine fixes are just not good for you. It's truly like just a toxin. It's a poison in your life. Um, and once again, just to say, like, I'm far from perfect. Far from perfect. There's things I do. Like, sometimes I'll be on TikTok for too long, and I'm like, that was not productive. That was actually like a pretty net negative. But it's like, are you just gonna repeat the same thing tomorrow, over and over again? You gotta break the pattern. You gotta break the pattern at some point. You gotta stop telling yourself, "Well, I'm gonna break the pattern tomorrow." Break the pattern now. Dissolve that pattern right now. Create a new pattern. You have to take action. You have to take inspired action. And like so many people just like wait. They think that like someone's gonna like come into their life and save them. No one is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. You have to take responsibility of your own life. And a lot of people don't. They don't take any responsibility. Once you start taking responsibility for your life right now, where you are right now, is the direct result of your past self. Now, your past self might have fucked you over. And that's something you're going to have to work through and realize and understand and accept. You're going to have to accept that. At the same time, you can't be hard on yourself. You can't be mad at your past self. Be like, I hate you. You suck. You put me in this position. Well, that was really you that did it. So accept it. You're literally the main character of your life. You're the main character. You get to write your own story. You're literally also the director, the script writer. You get to create your own story. Like you're the artist of your life. Every day is a blank canvas and you get to create. Think about that. You get to create your own life. Like what a blessing. What a blessing that you have the ability to create whatever you can dream of. Speak your dreams into existence. And to challenge anyone that has this limited mind where they're like, well, I don't know. Like, I don't think my dreams could happen. They're so big. It's like, what if you couldn't fail? If you couldn't fail, how big would you dream? Think, like, write this down. If you couldn't fail, how big could you dream? This literally opens your mind up to expansion. You start thinking even bigger than you were before and realizing those dreams you had before were even limited. And this whole process of integrating and embracing and becoming one with abundance is something that takes a while. It's a complete shift in your life, your perception of life. Abundance is really a perception. I think. I think that's a decent way to explain it. It's a perception. It's a way to perceive life. I choose to perceive life through an abundance lens. And this is going right into the next topic of an abundant mindset. Abundance is limitless. It's expansive. It's not defined. Honestly, like for me, abundance has like brought such a transformative impact on my life. I can't really, like I said, I can't put in any words to describe the experience I've had this year by fully embracing an abundant mind. It's been jaw dropping to say the least. Now, I see abundance everywhere I look. My body, my heart is pumping blood while I sleep, and I am breathing miraculously throughout the day. My body is healthy. I get to experience my life. I have beautiful friends and family. I have a place of work that I love, and I didn't I didn't used to perceive my life like this last year or even like 8 months ago. I lived in such a limited mind. I wanted more. I wanted more. It was never enough. And I started to realize that everything I need is here right now. And I started to look around in my life and I started to really feel grateful for everything I have right now. And that literally started to change my life. I literally feel like I'm living in this movie where I am Mr. Lucky. So many good things happen to me. I feel like a magnet for abundance. It literally all comes to me. And I put this reminder in my phone because of this beautiful woman off TikTok. I'm forgetting her name, but she said the ultimate state of no, gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. And what that means is that you got to be grateful for everything you have now to receive more. Now think about it. If you're not grateful for what you have now, and you receive more, are you going to be grateful? Well, maybe for a second, but like then you're going to want more, and you'll always feel unfulfilled. You'll always feel unfulfilled. That's why like an abundant mind is this, it's so beautiful, and like everyone deserves to live in abundance. Like it's your birthright. It's literally your birthright. And everyone's life is different. Stop comparing. Literally, stop that right now. I know someone listening to this is comparing. Well, my life, it's not fair. Like, comparison is the thief of joy. It's stealing your joy every time you compare. Like, I had that written down in my mirror for like several months, and it's true. Comparison is the thief of joy. Why would you compare yourself to someone else? Like, what's the point? Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Are you doing better today than you were yesterday? Even if that means you're only 1% better than yesterday, it's like, wow, that's amazing. To be 1% better than you were yesterday, and you compound that, your life will transform. And that's the thing, delayed gratification. Like, you're not going to make monumental shifts overnight. It's the act of putting in the work, little step by step. And even if you fall back a few steps, you're starting from a better spot. You're starting from a better spot. You pick yourself up and you keep going. And 6 months later, you'll look behind you and be like, wow, I did that. I changed my whole life. And it's only going to get better. You don't need to cap yourself out at how good life can be. Life can continually get better, and that is a perception that you can choose to perceive. Now, I know some people say, well, life can only get so good. Well, you're thinking in a limited mind. You're thinking inside a box. Open your mind. Like, life can literally get better. I like to say out loud, I'm like, show me how life gets better. Now, whether you believe that is God or the universe creating a better life for you, it could literally just mean that you're tricking your brain into telling it, show me how life gets better. And then your brain's going to show you things that make your life better. So even science ties into this. It's like the words you use to describe your reality become your reality. And I didn't say that. Tony Robbins did. Heard that a few years ago during an online seminar. And honestly, that statement stuck with me. The words you use to describe your reality become your reality. And it's like, well, you should be mindful and intentional with what words you use to describe your reality. Don't wake up and say, oh, I hate life. Oh, it's so shitty. It's raining outside. Oh, gosh, that sucks. Like, oh, my life is full of problems. That's the least of my worries. Like, statements like those literally perpetuate what you're saying. Like, your life, your brain will make sure that's what your reality is. And that's why it's so important to actually feed your mind with good words, with thoughtful words, words that are full of abundance and expansion. Your life can get better. You deserve a better life. I am worthy of a better life. And like I said, whether I don't know where you are on your journey, but like you're not going to change overnight. It's something that will happen slowly, and you just got to stick with it day after day. Choose to create a better life for yourself, for your future self. Your future self deserves a better life. Honestly, think about it. Like, they really do. So think about what you're doing right now to create a better life. It's for your future. It's for your future self, and your future self will thank your past self and be like, thank you so much for doing all that, because now you're here, now living your dream. Now, the last segment, and this has changed my life. I know I've said a few things, but like, honestly, my life has changed this year. Um, Focusing on the next best step that's right in front of you. That you don't need to know every single step in the future. We've talked about this. Like, you like embrace the unknown. You don't want to have certainty. Like, life is uncertain, and that's just a fact. Trust in the unknown. And trust that the next step you take will be the right step. And some people might be saying, well, what if I take the wrong step? But how about you challenge that thought and say, what if I took the right step? What if this is the right step? I feel like this is so powerful because you start to develop a deep sense of trust within yourself. When you truly trust that the next step in front of you that you're taking is the best step. It's powerful. It's really powerful to truly trust yourself. Developing that deep sense of trust, that will change your life. And I'm sure you've heard, like, to live the life you're supposed to live, like, you got to be true to yourself. Don't create a life because you want people to see the fancy car you're driving, or that you're in a relationship, or, oh, look at me, I've gone to college, but that's what my friends and family wanted. Have you ever thought about what you actually want? What do you truly want? And this is something that can take a while to, like, actually get to the root of, because our ego, we get attached to all these things that aren't us, to these achievements, to what people perceive about us, what our friends and family think about us, what we think about ourselves. Like, what it can be a lot. It can be a lot. But, like, that's why I say, like, do you ever really just, like, think about what you actually want and think about why you want it? Like, is that what your true self actually wants, or is that what your ego wants? Is that, an egoic intention to try and build this version of you up so you look mighty and superior and powerful in front of somebody, So, yeah, I'm only 26 years old, turning 27 next month. I'm a Cancer, by the way. So, something I've learned and integrated into my life is that to truly live the life you're destined for is to be true to yourself. And once you make that decision, that this decision is a must, we don't make this. Now, I don't know what you think about decisions. Well, you might flake on a decision. Let's get that out of your vocabulary. A decision is a must. When you make a decision, that is a point in time where you've decided to make a change and you're going to stick with it. Now, once you decide that you are going to trust yourself and live true to yourself, that is the day your life changes. That is truly the day that your life changes. And now you're going to stick with that. You're going to stick with that, and it will literally change your life, honestly. Now, how to trust the next step? Encourage yourself, that trusting that things will work out. Like, you'll have a thought and be like, well, what if this is the wrong step? I don't know if this is going to work out. Challenge that thought and be like, what if it actually works out better than I could have ever imagined? What if? And then you start thinking, well, why am I worried about this next step? Like, even if it turns out to be the wrong step, it's like, it's a learning experience. You're learning to be true to yourself, and this is something that takes time. You can't do it overnight. Yeah. I think I'm going to wrap up the podcast here. It honestly went on a lot longer than I anticipated, but I enjoyed it a lot, honestly, and I hope that you gained something from listening to it. The reason I'm making these podcast episodes and why I started the Abundant Mind is for you. This is for you. So drop a follow or subscribe if you enjoyed this episode and want to see more. Share it with a friend that might enjoy it as well. And I actually want to hear your feedback because I'm making these episodes for you. Let me know how this impacted you or what you want to hear about. Ask me questions. You can message me on my Instagram at jrude vibes. It's 2 Y's and 3 O's. jrude vibes. Yeah, there's a lot of things we talked about in this episode, and I believe for myself at least, this has seeded many other episodes that will come from it. I just wanted to kind of give an overview of an abundant mind and kind of comparing it to a scarce mind and what a lot of people experience in life, in society, because I've noticed that many people are stuck in their head, clearly like a prisoner in their head. And the whole point of this episode was to help plant some seeds inside your head so that you can dissolve the overthinking, you can dissolve the scarcity, the limited thinking, and find peace and fulfillment and abundance, because you deserve it. That's your birthright. Anyways, I'll catch you next time. Stay abundant. Peace.